Hello and welcome to this week's 4Ps podcast. This week we are talking about something that is very important. One of the strongest industries as far as finances are concerned is the pornography industry. It makes billions of dollars throughout the world, and it has done things um, to our psyche. It's done things to our mind. It has changed the way relationships act. It has contributed to some very deviant behavior, criminal behavior, things like that. In the light of what's going on with the Epstein files and all of the things that are going on with that, I'm bringing back my dear friend who spent a lot of time, in the sex industry in Australia. She was known for being in BDSM. She was actually a queen in that realm. She has been in porn. She has been, all of those things. She worked in brothels. You name it, she's done it. But she realizes that it contributed, and she told the story in her last podcast when she was with us about a year ago about what changed her mind. It was a situation that changed her mind, and I'm going to replay that podcast, at least that scene. You can go on the 4Ps podcast on Facebook, and you'll be able to see that scene of the instance that what changed her. And also, I'll also put that on the YouTube channel if you watch it on YouTube. But when we come back, we're going to have Tessa on here. She is going to be talking about the industry, about how people get sucked into it. Not only people who are entertained by it, but people who actually perform it. And we will be right back right after this.
I bought this book because I quit my job on a Tuesday and didn't tell anyone for 3 weeks. Purpose, passion, planning, persistence. I thought it'd be corny. Page 40 made me put it down and just sit there. I started writing down what I actually wanted, not goals, values. If you've been drifting, read the 4 Ps of you. It's the nudge.
Welcome back to the 4Ps podcast. I am here today with a dear friend of mine, Tessa Williams, all the way from I'm going to say the greater Sydney area, since I went to visit Sydney a couple of weeks ago. She lives like an hour out. I mean, it was so far when we went to the church. I was like, wow, it's like the greater area. So very glad that you are on the podcast today. Thank you for joining us. Before I even go further, we've worked together on the book Stories of Transgression and Recovery. And she has another book coming out. This book is completely her life story, and it's going to change a lot of lives. Tessa, before we get started, what's the name of the book?
Breaking Free from Bondage.
And it is it is a very compelling book. It is a book that's going to be out in late July, early August of 2026. I want to say summer, but if I say summer of 2026, I'm lying, because it's actually summer
It's winter
2026
over here.
Exactly. So I can't really say that anymore. So I will say late July, early August 2026. Tessa has been on our show before, and she has talked about her life story, a little bit of her life story, and the miraculous change that she has gone through, and what she has what she does. And she really does live a life of I mean, it's 180 degrees of where she came from before. And now she is doing something, and I wanted her to be on the podcast. We were talking when we were in Sydney about what concerns her about the industry, the sex industry, the industry that she left. And I wanted to give her this podcast and this forum to discuss some things that she does. And what do you do now to educate, Tessa, individuals about this industry?
Oh, well, now I work on a podcast, which is with Mario Beeks, which is like the Battlefield. And I do bring on guests from had that kind of background. And I also go from brothel to brothel with an outreach team, and we go and speak to the ladies, ask them if everything's okay, do they need any help. We just offer them services, or maybe even prayer, because there's some things that only God can help them out of.
Okay. Now, in the United States, for the most part of the United States, brothels are illegal, in the most part. In Australia, that is a different story. Is that
No,
correct?
they're completely legal here.
And what I'm going to ask this question because it's going to lead into things that you now do. What is the average age of a woman who works at a brothel?
Uh, I'd have to say early 20s is what I've
Okay.
seen a lot since from when I first started in my 20s. It's been girls in their 20s, but I've seen girls a lot younger now starting.
Wow. And so what draws, I mean, what draws women to go into that line of work? Is it the money? Is it the what is it?
Oh, it'll have to, I think the first and foremost, it's the money for a lot of people. For me, it wasn't the money, but for a lot of girls, it is the money. It's if you're in a situation where you can't get a job, and especially these these times where it's hard and the rent in Sydney is just ridiculous. It's the place people turn to. They're seeing it being glamorized on OnlyFans and these girls making stupid amounts of money just for selling feet, which is a big lie, by the way. And they just want to make something quick, easy, and fast. And yeah, they think this is the way, because I'm seeing TikToks and other videos of girls who are saying, I went from being a waitress and now I own a mansion with so many sports cars. And I'm thinking, what a load of garbage.
Hmm.
It's no, it's not that easy. And it's like winning the lottery, if that's going to be you. Not everyone's going to win the lottery, and you're gambling with your life. You're not gambling with your money.
With it being legal in with it being legal in Australia. All right. So I mean, you have a regular job where they take taxes out, they have insurance and things like that. Does that actually happen in these brothels?
Oh, the sex workers have to pay tax, but as for everything else like insurance and no, sick days, no, it's not safe. I've said it for years. You make it legal, now make it safe. It's I've still hearing atrocious things that are going on in brothels. And I'm thinking, this is Australia where it's legal and we have so many support groups and police raids and everything. And this is still allowed to go on, how girls are treated in some of these brothels. And
Oh,
yeah, just because it's legal doesn't mean it's safe here.
so when you say the way these girls are treated, who's treating them poorly? Is it the
Um,
customer or is it the
no,
the okay.
management. Management, first and foremost, management. Management are like pimps. It's just another way of saying pimp. They're the person in charge. Like, you can work for a great person, because I did work for good people, which I'm lucky, by the way. But a lot of these places are run by people who are just on an absolute power trip, who see the girls as a money-making thing, and they don't care how those girls make the money. And if the girl doesn't want to see a client, they will force her. And I don't want to go into details about what I've heard girls having to do, but they pick on the young, the desperate, the naive, the ones that feel like they've got nothing else. Especially the ones, the smaller brothels out west. The big ones, not so much, because you've got the girls that are the glamours that can go anywhere, that can work independent. I'm talking about the small ones where these girls have probably been rejected by every other brothel because they've got a standard about what the girl looks like. So this girl's grateful to work there, and they know that they can take advantage of that. And
No, I mean that is
yeah,
sad. I mean that is
yeah,
so I know, okay, like every business in the world, in the Western world at least, there is heavy regulation.
yeah.
All right. There is, like, for example, I mean, I was just there, when I go to a restaurant in Sydney or somewhere like that. And by the way, the restaurant we went to when we were there, that restaurant you brought Dana and I to, that place, we still talk about that place. That taste was so good.
It is.
But it's delicious. But the thing is I know when I go to a restaurant in Sydney, I'm going with a certain guarantee that there was enough regulation that it is safe for me to eat that food. So, with that being said, if they're going to regulate restaurants, they have to regulate brothels and how these people are treated. There has to be, and I already see you shaking your head no.
Yeah.
I mean, but if I work at um like if I work at a hospital, if I work at a restaurant, if I work at the mall in Sydney, I know that I have certain rights as an employee. You're kind of alluding to the fact that all bets are off the table when it comes to brothels.
Of course, there's no rights for any of the girls. Like, you're always being reminded you can be replaced any second, and you're going to lose that money, you're going to lose that income. But it's more the smaller brothels, the ones that are more got the refugees, they got the people that are desperate. And that's what they prey on, the desperation of a lot of these women, because a lot of these women are afraid to like do it solo. Like, I was afraid to do solo out calls. I always had like an agency or something. And I see these women that are just being preyed on because they can't speak English, that they need to support their kids. They're in the country, they can't get work, they're working illegally. So they will hang that over their head that you are working illegally here. And you think that these people have not been raided by the police yet, and all these groups that come out, like our group that comes out, or there's a group like SWAP, or they go out to brothels to see if the girls are okay. And a lot of
Okay.
times the door gets shut in their face. And I'm thinking, this still happens in Australia. It's shocking that, yeah, I'm hearing even from when I was working, girls who were working for certain agencies were told they had to do certain services without condoms. It's,
Whoa.
yeah,
So so you were talking about some of these individuals have kids.
yeah,
And again, I know that here in the United States, I'm thinking about movies I've watched. I mean, and I'm sure that a lot of other people, when you think brothels in the United States, you have these movies that are in your head and you're thinking about these movies. Okay, so a woman that works at a brothel, does she come to work every day, or is she at work? Is that where she lives? Is that where she stays? Or is it just depends on the
no.
brothel?
Some brothels, like the one I worked at, did have apartments next door. They put like 5 girls to one room. It was very cramped. I lived in my own house. But
Huh?
some places, maybe they have apartments for the girls, but a lot of them don't. People live where they live and they drive to work every day. They have a roster that they come in for. A lot of places, if you're like 5 minutes late, 15 minutes late, they'll fine you. It's stupid stuff like that. Stuff that'll never happen in your 9 to 5 job.
No. So, and I'm sorry, you clock in a way. You clock
Yes.
in like this
Yeah.
is your shift. Your shift
Yeah.
is from 8 to 4, and you're going to work 8 to 4 today, and then at 4 o'clock you're done. I did not know that that was the case. I mean, so like, all right. I mean, do they have like? And you said roster. Do they have a set clientele? Is it like I don't know, like a beauty salon or something? I don't know. I'm trying to think about how to compare how this is done.
In the way,
You
yeah,
know?
it's like a beauty salon. You have your walk-ins and you have your regulars, and you have guys that pre-book, or couples that pre-book, or group bookings, or whatever. And
Wow.
at our place, we had different levels, and the VIP room was the presidential suite. And
Okay.
that's where they used to have like the big high rollers or the big party bookings, where it was a lot of guys
Okay.
that were paying for hours and hours. And yeah, a lot of places, they still do that. They have the long bookings, they have their special room. A lot of places I've seen just look and smell really bad.
I can only imagine. So when you say you go in there, you have your ministry now is going in
Yes,
to make sure that these girls who are working in these brothels are okay.
yes,
Now, is there, you said that sometimes these brothels slam the door in your face. That means that
yes,
other times they let you in.
yes.
Okay. Is there an obligation for them to let you in? Is there something
No,
that no, there's no obligation. So the brothels that let you in, they know that you guys are coming in to check on their welfare, pray for them, and even in some cases try to set them free from this way of life. Is that correct?
Uh, they think we're just there to see if the girls are okay. Like we've told them we're not here to go poach your girls or anything. If they think we're there to take the girls away, then no, they will never let us in. That's why I always say God takes them. We just deliver them
Wow.
into God's hands. God takes it from there. But I usually, if it's a new place, I usually sit and I talk to the person at the front desk the whole time to kind of put them at ease and
Okay.
just tell them I used to be in the industry. I'll show them photos of what I used to look like in the industry. I try to make them feel really comfortable with us being there. And as much time as I can buy with that person, the other ladies are out there, they're roaming around and they're talking to the women and praying for them and just scoping out the place.
What and this is something that I can kind of imagine. Um, there has to be there has to be desperation in a lot of these young women.
Yes.
Um, and there has to be a sense of loneliness. There has to be, I don't want to use this word, but there has to be a sense of maybe embarrassment, shame, something like that. Um,
Not
and I don't want to
really.
use it. Yeah.
The
And again,
embarrassment and because you're in once you become a sex worker in that environment, that becomes your family and that becomes your normality. And you see the outside world as the embarrassment. And I'm not sure if that's just environmental or it's just a way of coping. But you see, I saw myself in my sex worker role that this was my family. This was my way of life now, like any other industry. I never saw anything as embarrassing. And it also made me afraid to leave that industry because I didn't want to have to step out of that little support bubble that I had that I
right.
thought was my friends and my community.
Now you said I thought were your friends. There are some of them that were genuinely your friend. Is that correct?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
that still are my
And
friends.
good. And the reason why I said that is because, I mean, there is a sense of camaraderie. You guys are all going through something that no one else understands, to be
Yes.
honest with you. And there is a bond that is brought there. You were talking about OnlyFans for a little while, and I do know that OnlyFans, they really, really, um, like I know here in the United States, there was a woman it was a teacher who was she was fired for being. They found out she had an OnlyFans account, and she actually bragged that I don't care if you fire me because she made more money in a month than she made in a year as a teacher there. And she was very proud of it, and I think she's still doing it. But it was just maybe about 4 or 5 years ago that she did it, and there are a lot of people who do think that, and there's jokes. You see it on TikTok, you see it on Facebook and stuff like that. You see women joking, or you see like little jokes and stuff like that. Well, it looks like, in order for me to pay my rent this month, I got to go on OnlyFans. Um, and they're acting as if that this is where the money is. Do you think that once these young women, especially the younger women, when they find out that that money is few and far between, do you think there's a little bit of a bait and switch going on with OnlyFans and the brothels?
I believe a lot of these people, like they would put girls like Sophie Rain. I'm not accusing Sophie Rain of doing it, but they will put girls like Sophie Rain out there to kind of groom the next generation of, hey, I don't have to be naked on OnlyFans. I'm in a bikini and I'm the richest woman in the world. And then it
Right.
gets other girls thinking like, hang on, wow. And it gets more, this whole new wave of young girls coming in. It's the best advertising recruitment tool ever. And it's the same tool that pimps use when they recruit girls. They will get their biggest earner out there and get her out talking to the next group of naive young girls, befriending them and bringing them in. It's an old recruitment tool. And yeah, a lot of them lie about the money. The money's temporary, by the way. You'll probably
It
make
is.
a lot of money your first year or maybe your second year, but then it's a struggle after that because you're competing with a whole new. It's just new girls, and then you're going to have to take it up a notch. You're going to have to either go full nude, or you're going to have to do full sex, or you're going to have to. People are going to
Yeah.
get sick of that. They want to see something more, and yeah, a lot of girls are like that. They will start off, okay, I'm just going to do lingerie or implied nude, and next minute they're doing full blown porn, and I was one of those. And I
Right.
just thought after I got into doing more of the stripping and the porn side, I was like, okay, I might as well. It's already out there. I might as well just, do everything.
Wow. And so when you bring that up and you talk about that, you talk about how people are they have to go and they have to escalate, they have to escalate, they have to escalate, and then they're making more money, more money, more money, more money. And then they said, I want to stop. There's that transition for people who go through. I know that right now there are a couple of women who were very big in the industry that are now getting out. As a matter of fact, one, and I forgot her name. I just saw it on the news a couple of days ago. She just got her law degree. She passed her bar exam here
Oh, yeah.
in Texas. Yeah, and so I was reading her article. You have Jenna Jameson now, who's out of the industry, and she's doing things. Matter of fact, she has been baptized, and she is living a whole different way of life. You have gone and done these things. There is a transition, and obviously, in the book, you're going to talk a little bit more about your transition, so I don't want to go too deep into that. But there is a situation where, um, if you were making good money in that industry and you leave that industry, there's a transition.
Oh, yes.
And it's a transition that, I mean, not only is it a behavioral transition, it is a financial transition.
Oh, yeah.
How do you guide people through that transition?
Oh, you just got to get it out of your head that money is not going to make you happy. And I was at that point where I was spending a lot of money just trying to get that temporary kind of adrenaline rush. And no, and then it just gets to that point where I needed God to guide me and because there were times like I would have, if I didn't have God, I would have easily have gone back to the industry because I needed money. I had my cat's surgery. I was going to college. I wasn't making a lot at my other job, and just being in that horrible position of how do I make money? And if I didn't have God, wasn't there on my knees praying to God every night, I would have honestly taken one of those jobs that my old regulars call me up for.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes even the enemy listens to our prayers as well, because that same week that I was praying, I needed $2,000 for my cat's dental surgery. My poor cat was in pain and I didn't have that money. And then I get this phone call from a friend saying that they're opening up a new brothel and they need someone to run it, and they need someone with my experience, and it's paying $2,000 a week. And I'm thinking, no, you're not going to get me there. I'm sorry, not today, Satan. And then I just, prayed to God that, and the money did, working so many different hours at work, I did eventually get the money, even though I was eating ramen noodles every night. But I did get my cat's money for her surgery. But I did not take that job. Those temptations will always be there.
I will say something. You talk about your cat often. As a matter
Yes.
of fact, one of the reasons why we have the podcast today outside, which is a beautiful background, by the way, is because of your cat. You make a
She's
lot of
screaming.
sacrifices. You make a lot of sacrifices for that cat, and I love that. That is a beautiful thing. But one thing that you do, and I talk about the sacrifices you make for your cat, the sacrifices, there are a lot of people out there, and I'm saying this to you as a friend. I'm not saying this as, this is not a podcast host or this is anything off. I'm going off script. I'm not asking any more questions. One thing that I admire about you is the strength that you have, um, and the things that you do, um, and the obedience that you have to your new way of life, and the obedience that you have to with your relationship to God. I know firsthand what you are capable of making, capable of doing, and the things that you are doing. And again, you're going out there and helping other people. You have a tremendous willpower. I think that there's a lot of people who I don't, even if you could be going through the sex industry, you could be going through addiction, you could be going through there's anything you could be going through. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even have to be bad. It just has to be something rooted in discipline. And it's something that you need discipline for to get that reward. And the reward that you want is the reward that is, obviously you do want to be blessed while you're on earth, but the ultimate reward that you desire is the reward in heaven. And you are doing so many things, Tessa, so many things to get to that reward. And it is something that a lot of people need to look up to. I'm going to ask you one last question, but I'm going to give you an opportunity because I really do believe that there's going to be a lot of people listening to this podcast that may not usually listen to this podcast anyway, but probably will listen to it just based on what's going on. But what would you tell that young woman that is right now actually, it's a two-part question. What would you tell that woman who is thinking about getting in this industry right now because it's in her mind easy money? And then what would you tell that woman right now who realized it wasn't easy money and is trying to get out? Go ahead.
Oh, the first woman, I would say you're playing Russian roulette, pretty much. And you have to ask, are the stakes worth it? Because you may win, but at what cost? Because you may end up leaving with a lot of PTSD, and another, it's more likely to destroy you because you'll feel that you'd never earn enough to leave. And that's what I tell people. You'll never earn enough money to leave that industry. If you want to leave, leave. Just cut ties and go. It's a toxic relationship. And what was the second question? Sorry.
The second question is, what about that woman right now struggling and wants to get out of the industry? What would you say to her?
Cut ties and leave it. Walk away. It's not a healthy industry. It's just an industry that's going to suck your soul until you got nothing left in you. And it's an industry that will use you up until your final days. You can be an elderly woman with a walking cane and you would still be working in that place because there are places that will still take you. And is that what you want? Is that seriously what you want in your later years? The money comes and goes so fast in that industry. And I asked everyone who was a big earner in that time, that girls that used to charge thousands of dollars per hour and are working normal jobs, do you still have the money from the old days? It's like, no, I don't know where that money went. That money just disappears. And I wasn't a big spender. I did spend a lot on getting facial stuff. And then I did go into the indulgence of getting designer stuff. But then that was cut short for saving. I was trying to save, but even those savings I lost during COVID lockdown.
Yeah, absolutely. It's money that comes like that. Money in general, it doesn't matter what profession you're in. It really doesn't. Money is fleeting. It can come and go just as quick as anything, just quicker than anything in the world. And if you do anything for money, you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Sorry, the same goes for men as well, wanting to get into the industry. That think it's going to be a dream. Can I tell you that I worked with a lot of male escorts and I used to be friends with Sydney's #1 male escort. And this was a mature man. He was very tall and he looked like he could knock anyone out. He used to call me up having PTSD breakdowns. And this man slept with the best looking women. He was not one of those gay for pay ones that some of them usually become. He would have absolute breakdowns over the phone I tell him, breathe, it's okay. It's just a dark industry you don't want to have any part of. It's not as glamorous as it's put in the media. It's very far from it. And I honestly hope that more people start coming forward and telling the reality of it without the shame.
I'm glad you brought up men, and I hate to say this, but a lot of men do not bring up other men in the industry, and that including me. And I'm glad you brought that up. So, and I don't know what it is. I do know what it is. It's a double standard. It is a double standard the way men feel about men in the industry as opposed to women, because we feel like, oh,
a lot of those men,
you're a bad spot. Yeah, go ahead.
A lot of them do gay for pay, and they're straight men. They are not making money sleeping with women, so they have to sell themselves to men as well, and that's where their money is. And a lot of guys in the industry aren't making a lot of money because they don't sleep with men, but the ones that do are the ones that
Making the
make the
money.
money. And I think more former male workers need to come out and tell the truth rather than hiding.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm glad there are people like you out there that really talk about the real thing about the industry. Again, we're not here to sit there and talk. I'm not here to be on this program to sit there and tell you about, oh my gosh, this, that, and the other. You need to listen to what is being said by somebody who's actually been in the industry, and I want to give you all the information and give you all the facts. And this is what it is. And again, nobody better to give the facts than my dear friend Tessa Williams, who absolutely knows what's going on. Tessa's book will be out, like I said, in July, August. That July, August time frame. It is called Breaking Free from Bondage. Um, Again, it's a great book, and it's somebody you are actually reading a book. You're actually listening to somebody who is literally practicing what they preach. Uh, and I know firsthand. This woman is really practicing what she preaches, and again, I'm proud to have her as a friend. Cannot wait to see you. I'll be back again in November, and I'll see you again in November. We'll have to go back to that restaurant. It's going to be hot when we
Absolutely.
go back next time, but we have to go back to that restaurant for sure. Look forward to that. And also in November, we have to make sure that we are going to. I know that there's going to be a lot of book signings and stuff like that, so I got to catch you while you're free. We'll be right back. Tessa, again, thank you for being on this program. We'll be right back
Thanks for
right
having
after
me
this.
on.
Thank you.
Every story begins with the truth. Some stories are meant to inspire. Some are meant to heal. All deserve to be heard. At Veritas Publishing House, we bring truth to life through the written word. At Veritas, we guide authors from vision to visibility with purpose, planning, passion, and persistence. This is more than just publishing. It's legacy. Veritas Publishing House, publishing truth, inspiring purpose.
Welcome back to the final segment of the Four Piece Podcast. Bravery is all I could say about that interview, especially what she does now. She goes back to rescue. And I'm very much into history, and I'm not. Before I say this, I'm not comparing Tessa Williams to Harriet Tubman, not in any way, shape, or form. Okay, but here's the thing: Harriet Tubman had a chance. She walked, left, escaped slavery, went up to Philadelphia, turned around, and went back to go get other people. And why? Because she understood what it was to be free, and she wanted everybody she loved and cared for to be free. So think about this. She went back. She knew that she was going to be ridiculed, not ridiculed, she's going to be killed. Okay? There was going to be something that bad happened to her if she got caught. But she actually went back and freed her family and other people. She went back several times to free people in slavery. And I'm listening to Tessa. Tessa could have said, okay, I'm done with this industry. The hell with it. I'm out of here. She has not done that. She actually goes back to get other people. She goes back to get other people. She shows up. I had an event with her back in March. We were in Sydney in March, and she did an event. We were at the Royal Auto Club of Sydney. Beautiful building, by the way, but I can talk about that a little bit later on. She said, I have to be done. Now, listen, she is promoting her book. She is in front of very influential people. She is at the Royal Auto Club of Australia in Sydney. Okay. She is there. She is doing a presentation. She is talking about not only the book that she's in, Stories of Transgression Republic, and Recovery. Yes, I just did a plug and I can't even tell you the title of my own book, but she's also talking about her new book, Breaking Free from Bondage, which is coming out. But she left and went back. She said, I can't stay that long because I have to go to brothels tonight to go and minister to young women in these brothels. She is living that life of freedom. And not only is she breaking free from bondage, which is a book that's coming out with her this summer, August, I should say, because it's going to be winter time in Australia, but also she is there to help so many people and do a great thing. She is strong. She lives by her own. She lives by everything she has to live by. She does. I mean, and what I mean by that is she lives by what she believes, and she wants everybody to break free from that bondage that they are all tied up in. I'm taking a little pause. This has nothing to do with the podcast. It does have something to do with Australia. Little girl, and before I bring this up, before I bring this story up, I just want to tell you that we will have an image of someone who's deceased in this podcast, and I'm saying this because of the First Nation Indigenous population of Australia. I'm doing it out of respect. I just want you to know, if you watch this, that we do have an image of the deceased. Recently, a 5-year-old girl, Kumanjai, little baby, was found dead in Alice Springs, and she was a little First Nation Indigenous girl that lives up there. She's 5 years old. The reason why she was found dead is because allegedly a man by the name of Jefferson Lewis allegedly raped and killed her. The reason why I'm talking about this right now is because it has hit national news in Australia. It has affected me. In when you see the picture of this little girl, you know, you are. She's such a beautiful little girl. I am a father who has lost a child. I people say I can't imagine what you're going through. I kind of can. And that's the horrible thing about it, as far as their parents are concerned. And I really do feel for you. And I say I kind of can because your situation is a lot different than mine. And I just want to tell you that I'm sorry. To the Alice Springs community, let justice be served for this man. Please let it be served, and let it be served on the proper channels, so this person can definitely pay for the heinous crime that he committed on this little girl. So today, for this podcast, I do want to dedicate this podcast to that little girl, Kumanjai, little baby, and to her family, and to the community. And it's going to take a lot of time for you to heal. And I do know that if you ever heal, it is going to take some time. She was a beautiful girl, beautiful soul. And my heart definitely goes out to you. We'll be back next week. Until then, talk to you later. Bye-bye.